how are you? Hey, Nana Sherry. Hey, Jim Rocks. How are you, darling? Hey, don't judge me, love. Damn, why can't I get this? Hey, Julie. Hey, X. Hey, AJ Kev. I am past Monday and Tuesday as far as the work day, so I'm good. I'm good. Hey, Cece. I'm about to give up on these earrings tonight. Oh, really? Hey, Kingfisher. What? Earrings aren't going to work tonight. I don't have the patience. Hey, Kimberly. Thank you, AJ. Nina. Tonight, we know what it is. True Crime Tuesday. Hey, Shirley. Slowly but surely, I'm getting the night room the way I like it. Definitely. about that during the show. Now, just so everyone knows, the Night Queen's birthday is Thursday night. I am taking off that full day from the live, from work. I just want a day to myself. Let's start sharing the live. 5 friends, 10 friends, 15 friends. Let's start tapping. Hey, Dan. You like them? I love that one. Let's try out this new one. Hey, Eclipse. Hey, Leslie Marie. Hey, Hey, Gracie. Do you have a friend that likes scary stories? Invite them on in. I'm trying to get these earrings in, but with these nails, it's not happening. Have your tissues handy. Very difficult. Hello. Is there another night queen? Well, that is simply unacceptable. That will not do. Hey, elevator goddess. Hello over there in YouTube land. Who have we got over there, Kimmy? Hey, Mia. Hey, Alabama. Hey, Lulu. Hey, Eric. Thank you. Hey, Shirley. 3 minutes. I tried tapping like this. It doesn't work. Sure. Chester. Don't behave over there. Welcome in to True Crime Tuesday. Did you see the content? Do you know what the story is going to be about? Everyone come in, make yourselves at home. Oh, it's updating at the wrong time. Hopefully it'll be updating here in a minute. Welcome to Twisted Tales Live. I am your host, Bryn Morgan. I am a horror author. I am also a teller of every kind of scary story you can imagine. Tonight is true crime. Tonight we are talking about Skylar Neese. A truly tragic story. But first, let's prepare to give up on that one for tonight and move to something else. Just bear with me. Lining up the ghost. Sorry about that. For those of you who are just coming in, this is True Crime Night on Twisted Tales Live. We have a way of how we do things here. We make people feel welcome. Welcome to the Night Throne. I am the Night Queen. You are my night dwellers. This is a safe, warm, loving, welcome environment where for 2 hours you get to come in, cast your cares aside, and listen to a bedtime story. Not a story about a princess and handsome prince, but a scary story. Let's go into story time, shall we? There is no judgment here. Come in, get to know your Night Dweller family, and listen to the true crime case of Skylar Neese. Lower your lights. Lock your doors. Light a candle for ambiance, or to chase those shadows away. Hey, lovely. Pull your curtains nice and tight. Wrap yourself in your warmest blanket to avoid the chills that are about to crawl up your spine. And let's begin. Love you too, Carrie. Welcome, my precious night dwellers, to another journey into the abyss of human darkness. I am your Night Queen, and tonight we venture into a tale so chilling, so utterly bone deep, terrifying, that it will crawl under your skin, I can assure you, and nest there like a parasite of pure evil. This is not just a story of Schmurder, my darlings. This is a story of friendship, twisted into something so grotesque, so unthinkably dark, that it will haunt the corners of your mind long after you close your eyes tonight. Picture, if you will, the rolling hills of West Virginia, a place where morning mist clings to ancient mountains like the breath of ghost, where small towns nestle in valleys that have kept secrets for generations, where teenagers grow up thinking they know everything about trust, about loyalty, about love. But the mountains of West Virginia have seen darkness, my night dwellers. They have witnessed betrayals that would make the devil look like an angel. They have absorbed screams that echo still in the wind, that whispers through the trees. Tonight, I take you to Star City, West Virginia, where shadows dance between ancient trees and secrets fester in teenage hearts. 3 girls shared what they thought was an unbreakable bond. But bonds, my darling children, bonds can become chains, and chains become nooses. Tonight we dive into the suffocating darkness of July the 6th, 2012. The night that Skylar Neese took her final breath, betrayed by the very souls she trusted most. A night when friendship died and monsters were born. I shiver just thinking about it. A night when innocence was sacrificed on the altar of teenage obsession and jealousy. This is a story that will make you question every friendship you've ever had, or perhaps even now. Every secret you've ever shared. Every time you climbed out of a window to meet someone you trusted with your life. Because sometimes, my precious night dwellers, the most dangerous predators are the ones who know exactly where you sleep. Are you ready to descend with me into this nightmare? Then follow me, night dwellers, into the realm where innocence goes to die, where trust becomes betrayal, and where the word friendship will never sound the same again. Let us begin. Chapter 1, The Golden Trinity, Seeds of Darkness. I want to start out the night by showing you a picture. Skylar is in the middle. Three friends. Best friends. What could have gone so terribly wrong? You're about to find out. First question. What happens when friendship becomes obsession? Picture this, my night dwellers. Star City, West Virginia. Population barely over 1,800 souls. It was the kind of place where your third grade teacher still remembered your name when you were in high school. Where everyone knows which car belongs to each family. And secrets are supposed to stay buried in backyard graves. It's a town where Friday night football games are the height of excitement, where the local Dairy Queen serves as the unofficial teenage social center, and where three young girls believed they had discovered the true meaning of eternal friendship. Thank you. Skylar Ann Neese. Born February the 10th, 1996. 16 years old when our story unfolds. Picture her, my darlings. Strawberry blonde hair that caught sunlight like spun gold. Green eyes that sparkled with mischief and intelligence. A smile so infectious it could light up the darkest room. Hey, Spitfire. She was the kind of girl who laughed too loud at movies, who cried during commercials with sad puppies, who would give you the shirt off her back if you needed it. She was an honor roll student at University High School, working part-time at Wendy's to save money for college. She dreamed of becoming a lawyer, of fighting for justice, of making the world a better place. Skylar lived with her parents. She was their miracle child. Dave and Mary Neese had tried to conceive for years, but it wasn't working. And then one day, she woke up sick. She ran to the bathroom, and when she walked out, her face was bright as the sun. Dave, I think I'm pregnant. What? Yes, I didn't want to tell you, but I've been sick for like the past 6 mornings, and I'm late. To say that they were overjoyed would be an understatement. They lived in a modest apartment complex on Wilson Street. Dave worked in information technology, a quiet, gentle man who adored his only daughter. Mary was a devoted mother to her, and her daughter was the most precious thing in her life. The Neese family was close-knit. They were built on trust and open communication. Skylar could talk to her parents about anything. Boys, school problems, friend drama. They knew about her late-night adventures, and they didn't mind her sneaking out every now and then. Every teenager has a wild hair. She had a rebellious streak. Her tendency to sneak out for innocent teenage mischief. But Dave and Mary, they chose their battles. But there were things that Skylar didn't tell them. dark things, troubling things about friends that she was only beginning to understand herself. And then there was Sheila Renee Eddy, born September the 28th, 1995. She was beautiful in that effortless way that makes other girls both envious and drawn to her. Long dark hair, piercing eyes that seemed to see right through you, a smile that could convince you of anything. Sheila was magnetic, charismatic, the kind of girl who walked into a room and immediately became its center. She was smart, honor roll smart, just as Skylar was. But there was something else behind those pretty eyes. Something cold, something calculating, something that made the darkness itself recognize a kindred spirit. She lived on Cheat Lake, in a nicer area than Skylar's family could afford. Her parents were more affluent, more permissive. Basically, they let their daughter get away with schmurder. Sheila had freedoms that other teenagers envied. Her own car, fewer restrictions, parents who were often too busy to ask too many questions. But freedom, my night dwellers, can be a very dangerous thing when it's given to someone whose moral compass points toward darkness. And finally, we have Rachel Marie Shoaf, born June the 10th, 1996, the follower, the shadow, the girl who seemed perpetually caught between who she was and who she wanted to be. Rachel was quieter than the other two, more introspective. She had struggled with her identity, with her place in the world, with feelings and desires that she didn't fully understand. She was the kind of girl who was perfectly content watching from the sidelines, who analyzed every social interaction, who remembered every slight and every kindness with equal intensity. She lived with her parents in a conservative household where certain topics were never discussed, where certain feelings were pushed down and buried deep. Rachel learned early to hide parts of herself, to present a facade that would be acceptable to the world around her. These three girls were inseparable by 2011. They called themselves Three Girls, One Heart. They shared clothes, secrets, dreams, and eventually they would share blood. Skylar met Sheila in elementary school, back when the world was simpler and evil wore more obvious mask. They bonded over shared laughter and whispered secrets during sleepovers. They were the kind of friends who could communicate with just a look. You know the kind. Who could finish each other's sentences. Who promised to be each other's bridesmaids one day. When Rachel joined their group in the 9th grade, their duo became a triangle. And we all know, my night dwellers, that triangles are the most unstable of shapes. At first, the triangles seemed perfect, though. Three best friends taking on the world together. They had sleepovers every weekend, shared inside jokes that made them burst into laughter in the middle of class, supported each other through teenage heartbreaks and academic pressures. But trials have sharp edges. And when you're cut with those sharp edges, they draw blood. By 2012, cracks were already forming in their perfect facade. The dynamics were shifting. Alliances were forming and dissolving. Secrets were being kept within secrets. Skylar, smart girl, was growing suspicious. She was asking too many questions. She was starting to see through the mask that her friends wore so perfectly. She was beginning to understand that two people who trusted and that she trusted most in the world were hiding something very dark from her. And in the twisted depths of Sheila's heart, a terrible seed was already taking root. A seed watered by jealousy, fertilized by obsession, nurtured by a complete absence of conscience. The seed of Schmurder. But none of them knew it yet. They were still playing at being normal teenagers, still believing that their friendship was unbreakable, still trusting in bonds that were already rotting from within. The countdown to evil had begun, but the clock was ticking steadily. Chapter 2, Whispers in the Dark. The secret that killed. Question: what secrets are worth killing for? In the months before that fateful July night, something twisted was brewing in the shadows of this friendship of three girls. Something so dark, so potentially devastating in their small conservative world that it would ultimately seal Skylar's fate. You see, my night dwellers, Sheila and Rachel had been meeting in secret. Late night drives that Skylar wasn't invited to. Hushed phone conversations that ended abruptly when she entered the room. Meaningful glances that excluded her from their private world. Their friendship had evolved into something deeper, more complex, more dangerous. They had begun a sexual relationship, something that in their small religious conservative town could destroy reputations, ruin college prospects, and tear apart families. I want you to picture the fear that they must have felt in a place where being different was dangerous, where gossip traveled faster than wildfire, where teenage secrets could become adult consequences. They were terrified of discovery, paranoid about exposure, desperate to keep their relationship hidden from a world that wouldn't understand. But secrets, my darlings, have a way of revealing themselves. And Skylar Neese was too observant, too intelligent, too invested in her friends' lives to miss the signs forever. It started with the smallest things. Rachel canceling plans with Skylar to spend time with Sheila. The two of them sharing private jokes that made no sense to anyone else. The way they looked at each other when they thought no one was watching. Skylar confronted them about it. Not the relationship itself. She didn't care about that. She wasn't ready to voice anything on that yet, but about the way that they were excluding her. The way that their trio was becoming a duo plus one. Are you guys mad at me? She asked during one particularly tense evening. No, of course not. Sheila lied smoothly, that practiced smile never leaving her face. We're just going through some stuff, Skylar. It's nothing personal against you. What kind of stuff? Skylar pressed, because she was the kind of friend who cared enough to push. Just stuff, Skylar, Rachel mumbled, unable to meet her eyes. But Skylar wasn't satisfied with non-answers. She was too loyal, too invested in their friendship to let things slide. She started paying closer attention. She started asking more questions. She started noticing things that Sheila and Rachel thought that they were hiding. And then, on a night in late spring 2012, she caught them together. She had gone to Sheila's house unexpectedly, something friends do when they trust each other completely. She had did it for years. She walked into a scene that changed everything. Rachel and Sheila, in an intimate act, their friendship revealed to be something else entirely. The confrontation that followed was explosive. Tears, accusations, desperate explanations. Skylar felt betrayed, not because of their relationship, but because of the lies, the secrets, the way that they had excluded her from something so fundamental in their lives. How long has this been going on? She demanded. It's not what you think, Sheila said, but her voice lacked its usual confidence. How long? Skylar repeated, her voice rising. A few months, Skylar, Rachel admitted. It's just been a few months. She was crying now. And here's where the story takes its darkest turn, my night dwellers. Because Skylar's reaction wasn't what they expected. She wasn't disgusted. She wasn't judgmental. She was hurt. Why didn't you tell me? She asked. I thought we told each other everything. I thought we were besties. Why didn't you tell me? She promised that night to keep their secret. She swore she would never tell anyone. She tried to be supportive, understanding, accepting. But trust, once broken, can never be fully prepared. And paranoia, once planted, grows like a cancer in the mind. Skylar had left. It was just Sheila and Rachel. What if she tells? Rachel would whisper in the dark. Yeah. What if she gets mad and decides to out us? Sheila would respond, her voice cold as winter stone. What if she's just pretending to be okay with it, Sheila? What if she ruins everything? The what ifs multiplied like viruses, infecting every interaction they had with Skylar. Every smile she gave them seemed fake. Every reassurance felt like a lie. I think the two of you being together is super cool. Just promise me you'll let me know when you're going to get married. Every moment of friendship felt like a performance. They began to analyze everything that Skylar said, looking for hidden meanings. They started to believe that she was judging them, despite her words of support. They convinced themselves that she was just waiting for the right moment to destroy them. And so, in the twisted labyrinth of teenage logic and desperation, they began to plan. Not just to silence Skylar temporarily, my dark children, but to silence her forever. The planning began innocently enough. We should all hang out more, Sheila would say, her smile never quite reaching her eyes. Just the three of us, like old times. But behind that smile, my night dwellers, lurked the calculating mind of an unaliver. Because Sheila Eddy had already made her decision. Skylar Neese knew too much. Skylar Neese was a threat. Skylar Neese had to die. And Rachel, poor, weak, desperate Rachel, would follow her into the very depths of hell itself. Because sometimes, night dwellers, love becomes obsession, and obsession becomes schmurder. The secret is out, but soon there would be a much darker secret to keep. Chapter 3, The Last Days of Innocence, Living with Unalivers. Question, how does evil hide behind a friendly face? July 2012. The summer heat in West Virginia was suffocating, pressing down on the small town like a heavy blanket soaked in sweat and secrets. The kind of heat that made everything feel sluggish and dreamlike, where reality seemed to simmer at the edges like a mirage. Skylar Neese was living her last days of innocence, though she didn't know it. Completely unaware that her closest friends had already decided her fate. She woke up each morning in her small bedroom, surrounded by the detritus of a normal teenage life. Posters of her favorite bands, photos of happier times with Sheila and Rachel, college brochures scattered across her desk. She had no idea that every smile they gave her was calculated. Every laugh was rehearsed. Every moment of friendship was a lie, wrapped in preparation for her demise. Let me paint you a picture of these final days. Picture Skylar going through the motions of a normal summer, working her shifts at Wendy's, the fast food restaurant where she earned money for her college fund. She would stand behind that counter, her strawberry blonde hair pulled back in a regulation ponytail, taking orders with the same bright smile that had charmed everyone since childhood. She complained about difficult customers and boring shifts, just like any other 16-year-old with a summer job. Her co-workers remember her as bubbly, hardworking, always ready with a joke or a kind word. She would talk about her plans for senior year, about college applications, about the future that she was so excited to embrace. She had no idea the future was measured in days for her. Is TikTok glitching? Someone let me know. Badly? We are having a thunderstorm here. Bear with me. Okay, I'm gonna go out, restart, and come back in. Come on back. It's okay now? So it's good? Okay. Okay. Good, just checking. At home, Skylar was still Daddy's little girl and Mama's pride and joy. Dave and Mary Neese had raised an open, trusting daughter who told them about her life, her friends, her problems. The kind of family where dinner table conversations were filled with laughter and genuine interest in each other's days. How was work, sweetheart? Mary would ask. Same old, Skylar would reply, rolling her eyes in that universal teenage way. But I made good tips today. Dave would help her count her earnings, both of them planning how much she could save for college. They talked about dorm rooms and class schedules and all the adventures that awaited her. Meanwhile, her best friends were planning her funeral. On social media, Skylar was still posting the normal thoughts and feelings of a teenager. Her Twitter account, which would later become evidence in a murder trial, shows a girl living a completely normal life. July the 1st. No one on this earth can handle me. And Rachel, if you think you can, you're wrong. She had no idea how prophetic those words would become. July the 4th. Sick of being an effing home. Thankful for the friends who care about me. Thankful for friends who cared. Oh, my night dwellers. If only she had known how much they cared. If only she had seen the darkness growing behind their smiles, like a tumor feeding on their souls. But Sheila and Rachel were playing their parts perfectly. They were the loving, concerned friends. They would show up at Skylar's house, invite her out, act as though nothing had changed. Sheila would arrive at the Neese apartment with that radiant smile, chatting easily with Dave and Mary, asking about their jobs, complimenting Mary's cooking. She had always been charming with parents, the kind of teenager that adults loved to have around. "Can Skylar come out and play?" she would joke, using the childhood phrase that made everyone laugh. And Mary would laugh too, never suspecting in a million years that she was looking into the eyes of her daughter's future unaliver. But every smile was calculated. Every laugh was rehearsed. Every moment of friendship was a performance designed to maintain the facade until the perfect moment arrived. Rachel later admitted that she would lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, knowing what they were planning. She would count ceiling tiles to distract herself from the voices in her head that kept whispering, "Schmurder, Schmurder, Schmurder." She would replay conversations with Skylar, looking for signs that their secret was safe, but their plan was still hidden. Every innocent comment from Skylar felt like a potential threat. Every question felt like an interrogation. "Do you think she really knows?" Rachel would ask Sheila during their secret meetings. "She doesn't know anything," Sheila would reply with cold certainty. "And after this weekend, it really doesn't matter, does it?" Because they had already chosen the date. They had already chosen the method. They had already chosen the location where their best friend would be unalived. And Sheila was the puppet master, pulling strings with the cold precision of someone who had already disconnected from humanity. She was choosing weapons, pokers from her own home, sharp enough to penetrate flesh, small enough to conceal. She was selecting locations, remote areas where screams wouldn't carry, where a body could lie undiscovered for months, where two teenage girls could commit the perfect crime. She was planning alibis, stories that would hold up under police scrutiny, explanations for their whereabouts that would deflect suspicion. She was planning the perfect murder of her best friend, and she was doing it all while sitting across from Skylar at lunch, while laughing at her jokes, while promising to be friends forever. July the 5th came and went, Skylar's last full day of life. She spent it like any other summer day, working, texting friends, spending time with her parents. She went to bed that night in her own room, surrounded by the familiar comforts of home. She had no idea that when she closed her eyes that night, she was saying goodbye to the world of safety and innocence she had always known. Because tomorrow, my night dwellers, Tomorrow her friends were coming to take her on a ride into the darkness. A ride she would never return from. The countdown to evil had begun, and the clock was striking its final hours. Chapter 4, the night of July the 6th, Part 1, the invitation to hell. Question: what does betrayal taste like in the mouth of a killer? July the 6th, 2012, 11 o'clock p.m. Let me set the scene for you, night dwellers. Picture the Nice apartment complex on Wilson Street, quiet in the summer darkness. Most of the residents were asleep, trusting in the safety of their small town and the goodness of human nature. The night air was thick and humid, the kind of oppressive heat that makes everything feel heavy and dreamlike. Streetlights cast long shadows between the buildings, creating pockets of darkness where evil could hide. Inside apartment number 20, the Nice family was settling in for the night. Dave was probably watching late-night TV shows, unwinding from its day. Mary was likely leaned back in her bed, reading, wearing the reading glasses that made her look older than her years. And Skylar was in her small bedroom, probably scrolling through her phone, texting friends, living the normal evening routine of a teenager who believed she was safe in her own home. She had no idea that death was driving toward her house in a silver Toyota Camry. At exactly 11 o'clock p.m., Sheila's car pulled up to the apartment complex. The engine was running. They had planned it that way, to keep it running. They had planned everything. Rachel sat in the passenger seat, her hands trembling, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure Sheila could hear it. Later, she would describe this moment as feeling like she was watching herself from outside her body. She was like a passenger in her own life. In the back seat lay the very tools that would unalive Skylar Nice. 2 kitchen pokers, chosen specifically for this night, sharp enough to penetrate through flesh and bone, small enough to conceal until the moment came to use them. They had practiced holding them, practiced the motion that they would need to make. They had practiced unaliving their best friend. Sheila turned off the headlights but left the engine running. They sat in the darkness for a moment, both of them knowing that everything was about to change forever. This was their last chance to turn back, their last opportunity to choose humanity over evil. Rachel had told Sheila on the way to the apartment, "She doesn't care if we're seeing each other, Sheila. She doesn't care. Let's just turn around, go back, and think this back through." "No," Sheila said, cold and methodical. No, I made up my mind. She has to go. Sheila was already getting out of the car. Rachel would later say that she almost spoke up again. Almost said, "Come on, Sheila, let's go home. Let's forget this whole thing. No one cares if we love each other." Those words were right there in her throat, fighting to escape, and she did not say it. Skylar's bedroom was on the ground floor. How convenient. How perfectly planned. Her window faced the parking lot, giving them access to their victim. Sheila tapped on Skylar's bedroom window with her fingernail. Their signal had been for years. Their secret code for late-night adventures that had been used dozens of times before her innocent teenage rebellion. How many times had they done this before? How many nights had that same tapping meant nothing more than shared secrets and harmless mischief? How many times had Skylar climbed out of that same window for adventures that ended with laughters and promises to do it again soon? But tonight, my night dwellers, that tapping, that was the sound of death knocking at her door. Inside her room, Skylar heard the familiar sound. At first, she thought she was imagining it. She probably smiled as she rolled over. That's Sheila. Thinking about whatever adventure her friends had planned. She probably felt a little thrill of excitement, to be honest. The way teenagers do when they're about to break rules with people that they trust. She moved to her window and carefully opened it, trying not to wake her parents. She peered out into the darkness and saw her friend there. Rachel had joined them now. Her two best friends, the people she loved most in the world, outside of her family. "Hey," she whispered, grinning. "What are you guys doing here? It's 11 o'clock. Come on," Sheila whispered back, her voice steady as a stone. "Let's go for a ride. We need to talk." Skylar hesitated for just a moment. Something felt different. Something felt wrong. Maybe it was the way Rachel wouldn't meet her eyes. Maybe it was the tension in Sheila's voice. Maybe it was some primitive instinct warning her of danger. But these were her friends, her sisters, her chosen family, the people who had shared her secrets and dreams and fears. "What do we need to talk about?" she asked, still whispering to avoid waking her parents. "Just stuff," Sheila replied. "Come on, it's important." "Can't we talk here? Like right outside the window?" "No, we need privacy. You'll understand when we get there." And so Skylar and niece, 16 years old, honor roll student, beloved daughter, trusted friend, climbed out of her bedroom window for the last time. She was wearing nothing but pajama shorts and a t-shirt. This part really bothers me. Skylar was only in pajama shorts and a t-shirt. No shoes. Assuming that they would just drive around for a while and then come back. She didn't bring her purse. She didn't leave a note. She didn't say goodbye to her parents sleeping peacefully in the next room. She settled into the back seat of the Toyota Camry, right next to the pokers that would soon taste her blood. She was probably excited, thinking about whatever secret her friends wanted to share with her. "Where are we going?" she asked as Sheila put the car in drive. "Just for a drive," Sheila replied, her voice betraying nothing of the evil in her heart. "Somewhere we can talk privately. We've needed to talk privately for a while," she said through the rearview mirror. But Skylar would never speak again after that night. My night dwellers. Because they weren't driving toward conversation. They weren't driving toward reconciliation. They weren't driving toward friendship. They were driving toward murder. And with every mile they traveled away from the safety of home, Skylar Neese was getting closer to her grave. Chapter 5, The Night of July the 6th. Part 2, The Drive to Hell. First person, Skylar Neese. What goes through a victim's mind in their final moments of trust? Sheila and Rachel were my best friends. So when they came to pick me up that night, I was excited. I thought maybe we're going to talk it out. Maybe we're going to make it work. I really missed our friendship. I really missed our way of how we used to, the way we used to laugh and the way we used to have sleepovers and the way we used to talk and whisper about our lives, about our future. When I heard that tap on the window, I was excited because it was my friends. I just jumped out of the bed, my feet hit the floor, and I went to the window. And when I saw Sheila, I was surprised because we hadn't been on a drive in ages. We hadn't did anything together, hardly as friends. And then for her to just show up and say she wants to go somewhere, I was excited. I was game. When she said that we needed to talk, I hesitated. Talk about what? But at this point, I just wanted my friends back. I just wanted our relationship back. I didn't know what they were planning for me. If I had, I wouldn't have went. I kept asking Sheila where we were going. She drove that Toyota Camry through the dark streets of Star City like a hearse, carrying the living to their grave. I didn't know that I was going to be the one in the coffin. I just remember she kept driving and driving and driving. And I felt comforted being with my best friends. We were playing our favorite music. I didn't know that in the seat beside me was the weapon that was going to take my life. I was just laughing and chatting and being the vibrant girl that I just am. To be honest with you, I was happy that Sheila and Rachel were together. They were the ones that were making it awkward. What I was upset about, what I was hurt about, is they left me out. That hurt me. It hurt me really bad. I remember that I asked, so what do you want to talk about, Sheila, when we get here? Sheila was just very quiet. Rachel had her head down. Again, I didn't think anything of it. And then she just blurted out, oh, just stuff that we need to talk about. Let me focus on the road. I'll tell you what I want to talk about when I get there. She was being kind of bitchy, but that's Sheila. I had known Sheila longer than I had known Rachel. And I have to say, there were times I was very jealous. Very jealous that Rachel came into the picture. I tried to probe her again. I asked her, what stuff do you want to talk about? And then I heard Rachel say from the passenger seat, you'll see. I'll see what? I wondered. We drove past Dairy Queen. We drove past town. We drove into Pennsylvania. I saw the sign. Welcome to Pennsylvania. I just remember the darkness growing thicker around us with every mile. No street lights, no witnesses, away from any help. I was starting to get scared. I don't know what it was, but something was scaring me. I asked again as we turned down a dark road, where exactly are we going? Again, Sheila responded, just a place where we can talk privately, Sky. Are you guys okay? Are you breaking up? Is there relationship issues in Loveland? They wouldn't respond to me. And I believe that was the moment that my instincts finally started screaming. Warnings. I realized that all I had on was my t-shirt and my shorts. No shoes. I don't like shoes. Especially in the summer. They just make my feet too hot. I realized that we were already miles from home. She turned onto another back road, and then there was this lane that cut through this very thick forest. It was the kind of roads that appeared on tourist maps that locals used for hunting and fishing. I recognized it when I saw this little pond. Wait, isn't this where we came out and smoked that one night? Yep, this is it. We're almost there. You know, guys, I'm getting kind of creeped out. Can we please just talk about whatever it is in the car? I don't feel good about being out there. I don't have any shoes on. You won't need shoes, she said. We're just gonna walk in the grass. I remember when she stopped the car. I remember the headlights sweeping across the small clearing ahead. I didn't know that was where I was going to be unalive. Why are we stopping here? It's so dark. I remember she cut off the engine. It went quiet. The headlights went dark. The world seemed like it was holding its breath. I remember the stars. The sky was full of stars. Sheila turned around and looked at me. We just want to talk. That's all. Nothing's wrong. Rachel and I are just as tight as we've always been, aren't we, babe? Yeah, we are. Suddenly, I didn't feel safe. All of my senses were screaming at me. Run, Skylar. Run. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Let's take an intermission, and then I will come back with the remaining portion of Skylar Neese. Yep, I'm getting ready to tell the second part here in about 5 minutes. I am good, Christina. How are you? Was there anyone that had never heard this? Jasper. How are you doing? Hey, Carrie. You met Jamie Lee Curtis? Really? Oh, I love her. Yes, I remember when Dateline had his story on there. I love Dateline. I am doing well. It does kind of have a Slender Man vibe, doesn't it? Are you asking me which merch items are my favorites? Oh boy. I love my cup. I love my coffee mug. I love my t-shirt, my hat. I love my blanket. I love my towels. I love it all. I love it all. Even though I can't wear the little onesies, I even love those. Have to bribe the husband first. I hear that. Is she really? Now I can see her doing that. I think she would be very good in Murder, She Wrote, for sure. Or do we call it Murder, She Wrote on here? I'm so glad you like it, Bad Kitty Pop Tart. I love your name. I love it. I'm so glad that you love it. What is your favorite scary story? What's your favorite category? I'm so happy to hear that, Christina. That is what I wanted to provide. I wanted to provide an experience where you come in, you hear a good story, and you just relax. Oh, she's playing Jessica? Okay. You like true crime and real stories? Now don't forget, tomorrow night is Paranormal Viewer Night. Paranormal Sharing Night. What does that mean? That means the Queen shuts up and you tell your scary experiences. Mandy, thank you for sharing the live. Good, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, so be ready tomorrow night with your paranormal experience that you want to share, those ghostly things you've seen, those bumps in the night. I'm a paranormal girl too. I love it. All right. The Sisters in Black. Why have I never heard of this one? I'll be looking it up. And also, I was also going to say, Eat, Drink, and Be Rosie actually sent me a story that she wants me to cover. If you have a good story that you want to hear on Twisted Tales Live, let Let my hair is just flying everywhere today. It's so humid here. Let one of the night watchers know, and they will post it for me in the Discord. Thank you, Julie. Man, my night watchers are on it. Hey, Judy. I am going to look that up. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Judy Ballard. Thank you. I do missing person stories. I cover them all. Absolutely all of them. Isn't that right, Magic Moon? All right. For those of you who have went and got a drink, chocolate, a snack of some sort, it is time to get back into story mode. I have a fan on, but it's blowing hair everywhere. Who is loving these sound effects? Are they a lovely addition? Your friend has been trying to find her sister over 16 years, I believe. Oh my goodness. Wow. I think that might have been your favorite, Magic Moon. Elizabeth Bathory. Yes, I absolutely love it. All right, let's get back into it. Christina, I will speak with you more about that, okay? Someone else presented me with something similar to that that's been missing for a while. Who knows? Maybe I could start showing a picture and a little bit of the history, and who knows? There's a lot of people that are on TikTok, so lower your lights, lock those doors. Is your candle still lit? Pull your curtains nice and tight. Wrap yourself in your warmest blanket to avoid the chills that are about to crawl up your spine. And let's begin. Chapter 6, the night of July the 6th, Part 3, the moment innocence died. First person, Skylar Neese. Question, how long does it take for a heart to stop beating? Warning, this chapter contains intense content. What I'm about to tell you, Night Dwellers, is the darkest part of our journey tonight. We're about to witness the moment when friendship died and evil was born. When trust became betrayal and love became murder. I want you to remember, as we walk through this darkness together, that Skylar Nice was a real person, a daughter, a friend, a young woman with dreams and hopes of a future that was stolen from her by the people she trusted most. Sheila opened the back door. And I just remember feeling a chill. Come on, let's go, she said. Rachel was right behind her. I don't have on any shoes, Sheila. I don't want to walk. Let's talk here. We can do everything we want to do here. That's not what we planned. Get out the car. We're just gonna walk down there. We walked into the woods together. I remember that as I was walking, I stubbed my toe on a stick or a rock, and it hurt. And I said, ouch. And Sheila and Rachel just kept walking. I just remember it being so quiet. When we first pulled up, we could hear the crickets and an owl in the distance, and then it was like sound just died. And we came to this path, and it was so narrow that we had to walk down in single file. And I remember Sheila had her flashlight, and she was a ways ahead of us. And I asked her, why are you walking so fast? She was like, I'm just eager to talk. She just kept saying that over and over. And then Rachel somehow ended behind me. I didn't like the feel of the grass on my bare feet. I'm very sensitive on the bottoms of my feet. I didn't know if we were getting ready to have a big fight. I knew that something was wrong, but I was still trusting them, still believing that whatever was troubling Sheila and Rachel, that we could work it out with conversation. I remember we came to this floor just covered in fallen leaves and broken branches. It was just a forest floor. I like the ocean. I'm not a big mountain girl. All right, this is far enough, Sheila said. And I remember that we had this big canopy of trees that was over us, and it was almost like we were in an amphitheater. I just had no idea the horror that was about to unfold. I wanted to know, and I was starting to get mad. Seriously, guys, what is going on? Why did you drag me out of my bed at 11 o'clock p.m.? Why am I here? Are you breaking up? Are you wanting to just dissolve everything that we have? I mean, I want to know what's going on. Let's sit down, Sheila said. We need to talk about some things. We've needed to talk about things for a while. pull me down on the floor. And we were sitting in the forest, and like we had taken countless times before during sleepovers and camping trips. And for a few minutes, we actually did talk, and I started to calm down. We started to talk about school and summer plans, and they were asking me if there was any boys that I liked. And I said something about if you kept in contact with me more, you would know that I have a guy that I am interested in. It was just normal teenage conversation that seemed surreal in the context of what was planned. I remember that I eventually leaned back against the tree. I was relaxed, thinking that whatever crisis that had brought us here, that it was resolving itself, and that the three of us were going to leave the woods together, that we were going to leave and we were going to be okay, and we were going to be the three friends forever. They even seemed normal, more like themselves. I didn't see Rachel's hands shaking. I saw Sheila start to get up and pace back and forth. And then Sheila walked over to Rachel and she tapped her on the shoulder. She stood up. And then I remember Sheila ran her hands through her hair. And she looked up at the sky and she said, "You know what, Skylar?" And her voice just took on a whole different tone. And I can't explain it. But I knew that I was in trouble. I remember she said, "We brought you out here because we need to tell you something." And then I stood up and I remember I wiped my hands on my pajama shorts and I said, "Okay, I'm listening." And then Sheila raised her hand in the air. And she said, "On 3. When I count to 3. The rest is kind of a blur for me. I just remember Rachel's hand moved toward her pocket of her hoodie. And I remember the blade shining in the moonlight, glinting. And I remember her fingers closing around the handle that felt cold to me as I looked at it. And then I heard Sheila say 2. And I was looking directly at her. I didn't understand what was going on. I had no idea what they were getting ready to do to me. And then I heard 3. Rachel struck first. It entered my back. I was shocked and scared. And I screamed because it hurt so bad. And then Rachel struck me again in the stomach. And I just looked at her. Why? And then I remember she was about to strike me again, and then she hesitated. And I looked up at her and I said, Rach, don't. I could see the blood on my t-shirt. It was spreading. What are you doing? Rachel, what are you doing? And then Rachel was pushed back. And Sheila came forward. I counted the times that I was stabbed. 15. Stomach, arms, back, chest, slicing through me, head, face, legs. I remember she bent down and she cut the backs of my ankles. I fought with everything that I had, as much as I could. I tried to get up and run, and that's when I knew that she had cut the backs of my ankles. And I remember my face hitting the ground. I saw Mom, Dad, my friends. I tried to reason with them. Blood was spurting out of my mouth and my nose. I said, why are you doing this? I thought we were friends. And then I just remember them pouncing on me. Both of them. And then it became very quiet. I didn't feel the stabs anymore. I could feel my life leaving my body. I'm floating up out of my body. And when I floated up, I looked down and I saw them, Rachel and Sheila, just continuously stabbing me. I guess they thought that I was dead. They stood over my body in the darkness. Both of them were breathing heavily, covered in my blood. I couldn't believe it. I was gone. Completely gone. I just wanted to leave then at that moment. I wanted to be back with my mom and my dad. but I couldn't. I couldn't leave the woods. I remember watching them from above. Sheila told Rachel to take off my clothes, that they did not need any evidence left behind. I've never liked being cold. I don't like my feet being cold. But I felt so cold as I watched them, taking my clothes off, leaving me naked. They dragged my body onto the forest floor where we were sitting previously. They started throwing sticks and branches and tree limbs over my body, covering me. And then they set a fire and they burned my clothes. I wanted to hurt them, but I guess I was too young in that realm to be able to enact vengeance. I pray they're getting what's coming to them. I want to see my mom and my dad. I'm so cold. So cold. Murder, my night dwellers, is only half the crime. The other half is the cover-up. And Sheila Eddy was nothing if not thorough in her evil. Nothing if not prepared for the aftermath of what they had done. The forest clearing was now a crime scene painted in blood and betrayal. Skylar's body lay motionless among the fallen leaves. Her life stolen, her dreams ended. Her parents' hearts about to be shattered into a million pieces. But for Sheila and Rachel, the night's work was far from over. Picture them standing over their best friend's corpse, both of them breathing heavily, both of them forever changed by what they had done. Rachel was crying, great heaving sobs that shook her entire body. The weight of what they had done was already crushing her. Little too late there, Rachel. The reality of murder setting into her bones like poison. But Sheila was already thinking ahead, already planning their next move with the cold calculation of someone who had prepared for this moment. Stop crying, she commanded Rachel. We have work to do, and we don't have a whole lot of time to do it. They gathered branches and leaves covering Skylar's body hastily but thoroughly. They weren't trying to hide her forever. They knew that she would eventually be found. They just needed to buy themselves time, to delay discovery until they could establish their alibis and perfect their story. Every movement was calculated. Every decision was strategic. They were no longer grieving friends. They were criminals covering their tracks. But they couldn't leave Skylar's clothes behind. The pajama shorts and t-shirt which she had worn were evidence that could tie them to the scenes. So they stripped their dead friend's body, removing every piece of fabric that could tell the story of that night. Think of that for a moment, my night lovers. These girls who had shared clothes during sleepovers, who had borrowed each other's jewelry, who had helped each other get dressed for school dances, were now stripping their murdered friend's corpse to hide their crime. They loaded the bloody clothes into garbage bags they brought specifically for this purpose, because this wasn't a crime of passion, remember. This was premeditated murder planned down to the smallest detail. They drove to a different location, a remote area where they could safely destroy evidence without being seen. They built a small fire and vetted the remnants of their friendship. Skylar's pajamas, her shirt, her undergarments, everything that could connect them to her final moments. As the flames consumed the fabric, they were literally burning away the evidence of their betrayal. Each piece of clothing that turned to ash was just another barrier between them and justice. Another layer of deception they could hide behind. Then came the performance of their lives. They drove home through the pre-dawn darkness, past the same landmarks that had passed hours earlier when Skylar was still alive. But now the car was different, clean of blood, but forever tainted by what it had carried. They arrived back in Star City as the sun was beginning to rise, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold that seemed obscene after the darkness that they had created. They separated, going to their respective homes, slipping back into their bedrooms like nothing had happened. And then, with the blood of their best friend still under their fingernails, they went to sleep. Rachel would later describe those hours as the worst of her life. She lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, reliving every moment of the murder. She could still hear Skylar's screams. She could still see the confusion and betrayal in her eyes. She could still feel the resistance of flesh against the blade. But Sheila slept peacefully, as if she had simply attended a movie or gone shopping with friends. The next morning, July the 7th, 2012, Dave and Mary Neese woke up expecting to find their daughter asleep in her room, safe in her bed, after whatever late-night adventure she had gone on with her friends. Instead, they found an empty bedroom, an open window, no note, no explanation, just the absence of the most important person in the world. Picture Mary Neese walking into her daughter's room that morning, maybe carrying a cup of coffee, planning to wake Skylar for work. Picture the moment when she realized the bed hadn't been slept in, when she saw the open window, when the first cold fingers of fear began to grip her heart. "Dave!" she called, her voice already trembling with panic. "Dave, get in here!" They searched the apartment frantically, calling Skylar's name, checking every room, every closet, every possible hiding place. But she was gone. And deep in their parents' hearts, they knew something was terribly wrong. When they called Sheila and Rachel and asked them where their daughter was, Sheila's response was, "We don't know where she is." She had her alibi all perfectly planned. She was supposed to come home last night. Well, she obviously did not. She's not here, Sheila. Where is she? "I don't know. I mean, we dropped her off at the end of your street around 11:30. She never came in. Oh my God." Then Sheila asked, "Have you called the police?" They played the part of worried friends perfectly. They joined search parties, walked through the very woods where they had hidden Skylar's body. They distributed missing persons flowers. "Have you seen our best friend?" Their faces mask of concern and sorrow. The same hands that had stabbed her were now holding up her photograph, pretending to care about finding the girl they had murdered. For 5 months, they carried on this charade. They went to parties. They attended social school events. They had posted on social media. They even comforted each other publicly about their missing friend, embracing and crying crocodile tears for the cameras. They were even there when her body was discovered 6 months later. Faint tears streaming down their faces as they hugged Skylar's parents and whispered empty condolences. And do you know what Sheila had the nerve to say to Mary? Niece. "At least we know now. At least we can say goodbye." Evil, pure and simple. Evil. Chapter 8, the beginning of the end. Cracks in the facade. You can do the act, but murder, my night dwellers, has a way of eating at the soul like acid, if you have any kind of a conscience at all. Even the darkest hearts cannot escape the poison of their own evil forever. And while some unalivers can compartmentalize their crimes, can lock away their guilt in the deepest corners of their minds, others find that the weight of what they've done slowly crushes them from within. Rachel began to unravel like a sweater with a pulled thread. Sheila seemed completely unaffected by the crime, attending parties. She even dumped Rachel, dating boys, maintaining her perfect grades, while Rachel was dealing with a spiritual cancer. She lost weight, her clothes hanging loosely on her shrinking form. Dark circles appeared under her eyes, making her look much older than her 17 years. Her hands developed a constant tremor. She tried to keep them busy, but it was not helping. She couldn't sleep. When she tried to close her eyes, she would see Skylar's face. In those final moments, the confusion, the betrayal, the desperate question. Why? The sound of her best friend's screams echoed in her head like a broken record that wouldn't stop playing. She began to have panic attacks. "Are you okay?" other searchers would ask, and she would have to lie again. "I'm just worried about Skylar. I just hope we find her soon." She started telling her parents that she was struggling with depression and anxiety. "I'm sure you were." She started therapy. "How do you explain that these nightmares that you're actually having are memories? How do you seek help for a problem that can send you to prison for the rest of your life?" So she continued the sessions. And then one day, Detective Jerry Ho of the Star City Police Department became the lead investigator in Skylar's case. He was a seasoned officer, night watchers. who had seen enough missing persons cases to know the difference between someone who wanted to disappear, night dwellers, and someone who had been made to disappear. Things were not adding up. Their initial interviews were conducted separately, and both girls told the same story with remarkable consistency. They had picked her up at 11 o'clock p.m. on July the 6th for a late night drive. They drove around Star City for about an hour. That's a lie. Just talking and hanging out. That's a lie. They had dropped her off at the end of her street around 11:30 p.m. That's a lie. And watched her walk toward her apartment building. Another lie. But Detective Ho was a careful man, and careful men notice details. He called them in. So, how are you two girls doing? We're doing great. Thanks for asking, Sheila said. Rachel kept her head bowed because Sheila told her, we are so close with getting away with this. Maintain yourself, Rachel. God, what did I ever see in you? Detective Ho sat across the table. You know what? I'm gonna change it. Let's take Sheila and we'll keep her in here and we'll put Rachel in another interrogation room. So there was Rachel with Detective Ho. So, I know the story that you told me, but, and y'all said that you drove around Star City. Is that right? Yes, sir. Then can you explain why your phone was pinging towers in Pennsylvania that night? Rachel looked completely stunned. And in the other room, another detective was interrogating Sheila. He asked her the same question. Can you explain why your phone was pinging at towers in Pennsylvania that night? I mean, I didn't want to say because I felt like we were going to get in trouble. Humor me. Well, okay, we went to get high. We drove to Pennsylvania because we knew a place where we could smoke weed without getting caught. We didn't want to tell you because we thought that we were going to get in trouble. Are we in trouble? It was a plausible explanation. Detective Ho would give them that. But he kept searching. And Rachel was cracking under the weight. She started talking to her lawyer about the possibility of a deal. A deal for what, Rachel? What did you do? And it all came out. 6 months after the murder, Rachel Shope made a decision that would alter the course of the investigation forever. She told her attorney that she was ready to tell the truth. On January the 16th, 2013, Rachel led investigators to the remote area in Wayne Township, Pennsylvania, where they had hidden Skylar's body. The thing is that the location was so isolated that Skylar might never have been found without Rachel's confession. And they found Skylar's remains exactly where Rachel said that they would be. When they arrested Sheila Eddy on May the 1st, 2013, she tried to lie her way out of the consequences of her evil. Rachel had taken a plea deal. Lies had finally run out. When they asked Sheila why did you do it? Detective Ho asked. Her response was so chilling. She claimed that they had killed Skylar because we didn't like her. That's it. No elaborate explanation, no complex motive. They had murdered their best friend because they didn't like her anymore. The casual cruelty of that statement, the complete absence of human empathy, revealed the true depths of Sheila's evil. She wasn't just a murderer, she was a monster wearing the mask of a teenage girl. Sheila Eddy finally pled guilty to first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. Rachel Shove, who had confessed and cooperated with investigators, pled guilty to second-degree murder and received 30 years in prison. She would be eligible for parole in 2023. I don't know if she got it. The last thing that I will leave you with is at Sheila's sentencing, Mary Neese stood before the court and spoke directly to her daughter's unaliver. You took away my reason for living. You took away my best friend. You took away my daughter. You took away everything that I had lived for. The only thing I have left is the memory of her and the knowledge that you will spend the rest of your life in a cage. Today, as I tell you this story, my night dwellers, Sheila Eddy sits in a prison cell at the Lakin Correctional Center in West Virginia, serving her life sentence. She will be eligible for parole in 2028. 15 years after she murdered her best friend in cold blood. Rachel Shove is incarcerated at the same facility, serving her 30-year sentence. She's become a model prisoner, they say, participating in therapy programs, pursuing her education, trying to find some way to atone for the unforgivable act she committed in those Pennsylvania woods. Dave and Mary have become advocates for missing children and victims' rights. They have channeled their unimaginable grief into a force for change, working to ensure that other families don't have to endure the months of uncertainty they faced. Sometimes, night dwellers, in the quiet Pennsylvania woods where Skylar drew her last breath, locals say that when they visit the area, they can still feel something in the air. A presence, a heavy sadness, a question that echoes through the trees like a whispered prayer. Why? Hikers have reported hearing sounds that don't belong A girl's voice calling for help. The sound of running footsteps where no one should be. The echo of screams that died out years ago. Thank you. Whether they are real phenomena or just the power of suggestion, they speak to the lasting impact of what happened in those woods. In shadows deep where secrets dwell, I weave these tales of earthly hell. Your Night Queen speaks from realms unseen, of friendship's death and murdered sheen. Sweet Skylar's trust became her curse, as love transformed to something worse. Two friends who planned with hearts of stone left innocence to die alone. In Pennsylvania's woods so dark, where evil left its lasting mark, 3 girls walked down that forest path, but only 2 escaped its wrath. They counted down from 3 to 1. And when their bloody work was done, the girl who loved them most of all became their victim, heard death's call. I am the voice that whispers low of darkest truths you need to know. Through every tale of blood and bone, I claim each trembling heart as my own. You came tonight seeking stories dark and deep, but found nightmares you cannot keep from creeping through your dreams at night, where shadows dance beyond the light. My voice will echo in your head long after you have gone to bed. These twisted tales I tell with glee become the ghost that follow thee. For I am more than just a voice, in darkness dwelling by your choice. I am the chill that grips your spine, the fear that whispers, you are mine. I haunt the spaces in between the waking world and nightmare scene, where friendship turns to betrayal's knife and trust becomes the end of life. In every shadow I reside, in every secret that you hide, in every friend you've ever known, I plant the seeds that I have sown. Remember well, sweet Skylar's fate, when friendships turn to deadly hate. For when your dreams shall call to you, asking why, asking who. My stories bury deep where they cannot flee, and in the darkest corridors of your nightmares, you belong. you do.